You may know me for my current events coverage show, Stuff Keeps Happening. And if you've watched me for a long time, you may notice that there's a lot of opinions about technology among that series. That's because before I was a content boy, I was a technology boy. I was a person who worked in tech at all sorts of places, big, small, places you've heard of, places you haven't. This was my career for a while, and I don't like to say this, but I was really fucking good at it. Part of that is because I've been programming since I can remember, and it's just a thing that I'm genuinely passionate about. I enjoy programming a lot. It's like a thing that I do to de-stress, like that level of enjoyment. But hey, turns out when you do that for work, it's not enjoyable. And it was sucking my soul out of my body, and not in a way that I usually like. So now I do content. But at my heart, I am a technology boy. I know I do a lot of stuff about current events and news and politics and stuff, but something I've been wanting to do on this channel for a long time is start a series talking about tech stuff and helping people navigate the internet and just be a digital citizen. The internet belongs to all of us, not just a handful of tech companies, and certainly not a handful of billionaires. They colonized the internet and fucked it up. But the internet is inherently a decentralized, democratic communication platform, and I want to help people use it. I specifically want to help people use it in ways that don't suck, and I want to do it in a way that's not condescending. So this is a new series that I'm calling Technology Boy, because in a world full of tech bros, I'd rather be a technology boy. For this here first episode, get ready, hold on to your seat. We're going to talk about URLs. Don't click away, I need the views. I'll make it fun. Let's start with the absolute basics. What is a URL? What am I even talking about? It's this. It's that thing. http://www.thisvideo.com. Don't go to that website. I don't own that website. I don't know what that is. URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. It is a standardized way for a computer to ask another computer for something. Whenever you open your web browser and you navigate to a website, you are using a URL. You've used this constantly, all day, every day, even if you didn't realize that you were doing it. If you've just used an app, that app in the background is using URLs to reach out to their servers and get information. Okay, cool. All right, a URL is a way for a computer to be like, hey, someone else, I'm looking for this thing. Can you give it to me? You can think of a URL as less of an address, more of directions. It tells the computer how to find what you're looking for. As opposed to saying, what I'm looking for is at this location, I'm saying, I'm looking for a thing that would be found at this location. If you've ever gotten a 404, that's because the URL didn't find the thing it was looking for. 404, not found. You tried to locate this resource uniformly, and it didn't work. So that's what a URL is, but what is it? What's in it? If you're at this video, you are probably familiar with http://www.something.com, right? You probably know what that is, or at least you've probably seen it a trillion times before, but what is that? And also, if you've ever gone to a website and then navigated around, there's more in the URL. If you look up in the bar up there, there's more in there than just a something.com. Let's talk about all the parts of a URL. In order, you've got scheme, authority, path, query, and fragment. Did you get that? A URL begins with what's called a scheme. A scheme tells the computer, what is this? What am I doing with this? In the case of most URLs for most websites, it's going to be HTTPS, or for older stuff, HTTP. This is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. The S stands for secure. So this is saying, I want you to use the HTTPS protocol to fetch this resource at this location. That's what the HTTP : is. Hypertext Transfer Protocol is literally just, I want a web page, give it to me. It's more than that, but just that's all it means for now. There are other schemes that are beyond just HTTP, but we're gonna stick with that for now. And we're gonna move on to the next part, which is the authority. So the authority is gonna be a / and then the website that you're going to, right? / www.something.com. There's a couple other parts that could be in the authority that most people probably haven't seen, and that would be a user and a port. So you can actually specify a username and password to associate with the website that you're trying to get something from in the URL. And that looks like this. It's before the website's name, but after the / you do username : password @ website. Kind of like an email. Wow. This isn't used much anymore, but it's super useful in niche cases, and it helps to basically say, I am this user at this place, give me this thing. Port is kind of like a zip code for the computer that you're trying to get something from. You are accessing a remote computer, a server. Servers can have a whole bunch of stuff running on them at once, and what they do is they have things called ports that allow you to connect to different applications within a given server. For HTTP, the default port is 80, and for HTTPS, the default port is 443. And your browser just knows that and implicitly does that for you. But if you put a colon after the website that you're going to and then a number, that specifies a port. You're saying, I want to specifically go to that port on the server. Next, we have the path, which is where the thing is on the server, the thing that you want. You know folders? Like, you know computers? You know computers? On your computer, you've got folders, right? Like, you know, home / my files / don't look here / definitely not porn / seriously don't look / okay, it's porn. You know, like that. That's what a path is. It's the same thing in the URL. You're saying, at this server, I want the file that is at this location. This is the part where I say, the internet was never meant to be what it is today, right? Like the internet as we know it today is like an application platform. You use like web apps. The internet was supposed to be a way for us to share documents with each other, like static information with each other, and we've sort of bastardized it from being just like a document delivery system into like a whole interactive platform. So for example, if you go to like socialnetwork.com / someone's profile, the server isn't going to look up a file called someone's profile. It's going to go say, okay, you are trying to access what would be / someone's profile. I know what that means. I'm going to go gather their information and send you back a web page that makes sense. After the path, we have a couple of things that let you do more fancy shit. There's the query and the fragment. The query is that question mark blah equals blah, blah equals blah. If you've ever had a URL that was like super long and you like paste it to a friend and it's got all those UTM underscore whatevers in the URL, that's part of the query. The query is a way to just encode extra data into the URL. Super useful for passing information to the server for the server to then operate on. Those UTM things are all tracking codes. They're ways for the server to say, okay, I see this code, I know where that code originated from, so I can track this click. Which is to say, if you ever copy and paste a URL to somebody and it's got UTM stuff all over it, delete that. Just get rid of it. As for the fragment, it's largely just like an extra bit of data for post-processing stuff. Most frequently on web pages, a fragment is used to jump to a specific part on the page. And that comes after an octothorpe, the hash symbol. Let's move on. That's URLs. If you want to play with URLs and all the different parts of a URL, I'll link this in the description, but I made a little app, tiny little thing at urls.stuffby.dev, and you can play around and it'll show you what the URL currently has in it. Now come here. What if I told you I've been lying this whole time? Like a little trickster? Yeah, we haven't been talking about URLs at all. We've been talking about URIs, which are URLs. URLs are a type of URI. Did you know there's another type of URI called a URN? Just real quick taxonomy here. URI is Uniform Resource Identifier. URL, Uniform Resource Locator. URN, Uniform Resource Name. I genuinely find URNs to be fascinating. They are a standardized way to refer to a specific thing, but unlike URLs, they don't tell you how to find that thing. They just are referring to that thing, and we can all agree that they are. A URN, much like a URL, begins with a scheme and a colon, and then what comes after the scheme is based on what the scheme is. URNs can be anything, technically, but there is a list of canonical established namespaces for URNs, types of URNs that are globally recognized. For example, ISBNs. You may have seen an ISBN URN before. It looks like this. But you can do some interesting stuff with URNs. For example, there's a type of URN called MRN, that's the scheme, and it's used for maritime navigation utilities. So consider the following. You are a boat boy. You've got a boat and you need to go somewhere. And you're like, I can't see where I'm going. Where's the nearest lighthouse? You could look it up by MRN. I'm not a boat boy. For all I know, that's not at all what they do, but it is a registered type of URN and is specifically for identifying and naming individual navigation resources for maritime stuff. And if you thought that was cool, congratulations, we are siblings in dweebdom, but even cooler are DIDs. DIDs are a type of URN that actually are pretty new. They were standardized just in July of 2022. But the idea is that it is a self-proving identity. DID is a distributed identifier, and what it does is it tries to solve the problem of people being in multiple places on the internet, but wanting to be able to be identified as themselves. So if an ISBN URI, that's a mouthful, is able to say, okay, this is referring to a specific book, we can all agree that this is referring to this book. A DID is a way of saying we can all agree this DID is referring to this person. DIDs are kind of interesting because they've got the scheme, DID, and what comes after that is called the method, which is sort of a sub-scheme. It's a way to validate the identification. Probably the most basic version of a DID would be a web user DID. What that is a DID that refers to a person who has an account on a website. It's literally just the same as saying, I am blah at this social media platform. What's nice is that allows people to say like, okay, this is a user that is on this website and is found here, and we can verify that the website has a record of that type of user, so we can say, yep, that's valid. There's another kind that is a key-based DID, where you use some fancy math to generate a DID that only you can prove that you made. Essentially, the way it works is it generates some random data and it calls that a key. It stores that in a file, and as long as you have that file, you can prove that you own that identity. In turn, the identity is not a secret thing. You can give it to whoever you want, and they can verify that you are the one that owns that DID by essentially saying like, hey, can you prove that you have the key? There are other types of DIDs that use like crypto networks and stuff. I am very much not interested in crypto networks. I think that they are huge drains on everything. I don't think they're necessary. But there are Ethereum and other blockchain-based DIDs that basically say like, okay, I can prove that I own this DID based on this entry in a blockchain. Throughout this whole series, you are not going to catch me talking about Web3 or crypto or blockchain or whatever. We do not need those things for the internet to be decentralized. All that does is help take the capitalist part that ruined the internet and optimize for the capitalism part. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because I think that's all it merits. I'm going to end with a fun fact, a little bit of history and just some context. URLs were invented by Tim Berners-Lee in 1989 when he was essentially trying to put together the World Wide Web. And he eventually went on to regret the / to a degree. So you like the HTTP:// he essentially was like, yeah, that was not necessary. I was just kind of copying what another system was doing. But if I was to do it again today, I would just make it a colon. In fact, his idea for redesigning URLs would look more like this. It's weird. It's weird to look at, but I get it. So hopefully you learned a thing or two, and let me know if you want more of this kind of video. I've been really wanting to do more technology stuff in general, and learning and science. So let me know. I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to help me keep doing stuff, you can head to one of my favorite URLs, isupport.dev, where you can find links to my Patreon, my merch store, and other ways to support what I do. As we get further into 2026, I've got so many ideas and so few resources to do all of them. So if you would like to chip in, that'd be a great way to help. Thank you so much. This has been Technology Boy. My name is Endeavorance. We'll talk again soon. Take care and be well.